Hello, my name is Camila Queen, and I'm going to share my story with, I guess, addiction and loneliness. And excuse my really bad lighting and that I look bald. Um, so I guess like the best way I could talk about it, I don't know. It's like a very not. It's not a cute story. It's not. And I wish that I could make it be like but it's never actually funny. It's never actually been funny. I can laugh about it and I can just joke it off, but it's not. It's never been fun. It's never been something enjoyable or that I've enjoyed to do. It's always been something that's like I need it or I need something to keep going. Like ever since I was a kid, um actually I didn't have any friends. I was actually really lonely. Um I was really talkative though. I would talk to everybody, but nobody actually liked talking to me. And even when I was in preschool, it wasn't like a giant class, but it was a pretty average preschool class. I remember on my first day of school, I had my mom stay with me the whole day because everybody already started making friends and nobody wanted to talk to me. And it was just really weird. And I just didn't really like it. And obviously, I begged her, I started crying. I was like, please, like, you cannot leave me. I was like, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Please don't go. And she ended up staying. And I got through the day. But I guess growing up lonely in that way really, I had nowhere else to go and nowhere else to turn besides like something to be addicted to, because at least that was there for me no matter what. When I was about 5 or 6, I was pretty young, and it was like the early 2010s. So like I had an iPad, like I was an iPad kid. I still am. Big whoop. But I would watch like I don't want to say the word because I don't want like this video to get like banned or something, but I would watch like videos a lot. And I'm just gonna call them videos, I guess, just so that I don't have to repeat that motion. And I'd watch videos all the time. And I would do it, or like I would even just like sit there and think about it. I would do it for so long. I would do it when I got home from school. I would do it at night. I would do it in the morning. I would do it when I'm bored because I had no friends. So as a kid, I had a lot of energy. I had nothing to do. I had nowhere to go. Nobody liked me. And I never knew why. And whenever I thought about it, I'd get sad. Because even my family, like, it's always been, like, a very rocky thing. Like, my father, he's never been president. He's always sucked. I don't like him. And I'm very open with that. I'm very open with how I don't like my bio dad and how we've never clicked. He's never actually liked me either. That's a story for another time. And I would see I had half sisters, and I would see them like every other weekend. Well, this time I only had the one, but still. And that'd be the only time that like I'd actually get to do something with somebody. So like naturally I would have to turn to something because I'm just young. I have all this energy and I need to do something. I had nothing to do. So I'd find myself watching like a lot of videos or trying to like repeat like the motions of them, which is really, really gross when I have to say that aloud about me. But as time like went on, like obviously like I got a phone and like it just became so much more accessible to me. And it just kept getting worse. It kept getting worse and worse and worse. And over the years, it's not like a very nice thing to say that I still struggle with it, because it's been over a decade. It's been about 11, almost 12 years now. And it's still something that I struggle with a lot. And now people just think of it like, oh, you're just a freak, you're just a freak, you're just a freak. But I'm not. It's not like that. Like, sure, sometimes like I want to do stuff, but other times it's just like I have nowhere to go. I have nothing. I have nothing in my life. I have nowhere to go. I have nobody to talk to. I have nowhere to turn. And it just sucks. Because it's just, I don't know. But when I was a kid, I wasn't like a kid. I was like 11. Obviously, like I entered middle school. Like I started dating, and like at this point, I was in 5th grade, and there's this girl that I knew. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't blame her. As I've gotten older, I don't blame her. And a lot of people know her name because it used to really bug me. It used to kill me every single day. It would haunt me. But as the years have went on, I can't blame her. She also didn't know better. I guess. I don't know how to explain it. We were 11, we were kids. Her life growing up had a lot of issues. Obviously, I'm not telling you, like, oh, just forgive anybody, just forgive that, forgive it. It's not a big deal, whatever. Everybody's different. But I had nowhere else to go. I had friends. I've just never had good relationships with anybody, really. Like, whether it was family, whether it was the friends I would make along the way, or even just people I would talk to every day. I've never had a good relationship, I guess, until now in my life. And a lot of that would come from I was angry, or I was depressed. I was just upset. I was just upset at the world. Because ever since I was a kid, I've been depressed, and I knew it, but it's like I'm a kid. It's just a phase. Like, no, like if I say, like, I remember at one point I told my father, like, I think I'm depressed, and she's like, no, you're not depressed, you can't be. And I was like, okay, like, you're right, silly me. But I always knew I was. And as a kid, I think I was 7 or 8. I would use my nails, and whenever I got nervous, I would constantly, like, I'd claw into my skin, and I would, like, rip my skin. I would just, like, okay, I have nails on right now, so obviously I can't do it, but I'd be like, and I'd stab at my skin, and I'm pretty sure I still have a scar, actually, from one of them. I don't remember where. I have a lot of scars on my body. Excuse me. But I would do that constantly, and constantly I would do it. I'd be like, haha, like, and people would be like, what are you doing? Like, that's so gross. And then it was like, okay, like, this isn't normal. Like, something's wrong. And then when I was 11, around the time that this thing was going on, where the video thing, like, the videos became more intense. It became more in real life. And I realized, I was like, I don't want, like, I was really insecure. Because obviously growing up with that type of stuff, like, you form a lot of body issues, and obviously I did. And I wouldn't eat. There was a time where every week, I would eat, like, every day I'd have a carrot. I would have a small carrot, and then that would be my whole thing. I'd have a carrot, and then at the end of the week, if I did good, I could have a fun-sized Twix. And that was, like, my big cheat day. And then it got to the point where I was like, I can't do this as much. Like, I'm doing it too much. And I would just barely eat. Like, I would always be lightheaded. I'd always be drinking water because I was like, I need to be full. And it wasn't fun. And I just felt like I had nobody to really talk to about it, because it's just, and it's something, like, it's not enjoyable to talk about. It's not enjoyable to be like, hey, help me. I can't help myself, so I need you to do it. But, like, obviously, like, people need to reach out. They're allowed to ask for help. Big whoop. But my packages. And then, like, during that time, I began, like, actually, like, I don't know how to say this without getting banned. Oh my god. Like, doing lines and stuff. And thinking about it now, it was a lot worse than it actually seemed. I have over 100 scars on my stomach. There was a time when I counted how many I had. I remember the most I ever had one day. I looked down, and then I looked in the mirror, and I counted each and every single one. And I had like 126. And when I saw that, and I counted that, I just looked at myself. And I was happy. I was so incredibly happy with myself. But I was also so upset. Because I was like, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, I have nothing. I had nothing in my life that was worth being here for. I was angry. My family was a mess. My friends, heavy quotation marks. At the time, it was different. It was so bad. I just had nothing. I had nothing worth being here for. And it got to the point where one day I remember my sister saw them. And I told her, I was like, my dog, because I just got a new dog. I was like, I keep trying to train her, but like, she keeps attacking me. But like, they were deep. They were deeper than they probably should have been, especially like for my age. And then I remember she started to show my family, and I was like, no. And then I got to the point where I told one person, and me and her would talk about it, like, she was there for me a lot, in a way. And then eventually my school had found out, because her family had found out, and then they'd called the school. And it blew up. It was such an issue, such a big deal, but when they had found out, I had stopped. I actually don't remember how I stopped. I remember, oh, nope, I do. I just went to something else. And I know that's not the very, oh my god, good for you, like, oh my goodness, yes, girl. It's not the very pretty thing to say. It's not the cute thing to say. It's not cute. It's not fun. With what I've been through now, I don't think it should be romanticized as much as it actually is. I began, like, it started off, like, really small. Like, I just bought a vape. Big whoop. And I was scared to do it. And then I gave it back. And then I bought another one. God, I was so dumb. And then I started doing that. And then I was like, whoa, like, this feels good. I like it. Like, yeah, this is the shit. This is the shit. And then I had taken, like, I got in high for the first time. 6th grade girl. I had no idea what the fuck I was getting into. Took 2 gummies. Didn't know the milligram. Didn't know anything. All I knew was that they were orange, that they tasted bad, and that they'd make me feel weird. I remember it was like 8:32, and I took them. And I was talking to my friend, and I was like, how do I know when it kicks in? She's like, oh, you'll know. And then 15 minutes had gone by, and I was like, these haven't kicked in. This isn't working. The girl scammed me. So I called her. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you scammed me. And she's like, just wait. I remember I felt it. Like, it felt like the first time ever. I was sitting in my room. I was laying in my bed, and I was just sitting there. And then it felt like I had just shut my eyes, and like I had fallen asleep, and then I had woken up almost immediately. And I knew, and I was like, this is phenomenal. And I was the happiest I had ever been in my entire life for years. This is the point where everything really, like, really went downhill. Because I had began stealing a lot. I would still see my now both sisters every other week, every other weekend. I would steal so much from my bio dad. I would just take it and take it and take it. Anything that I saw, it's mine. I would just take it. And I was young to the point where I was like, she couldn't take it. She doesn't know what that is. But I did. So nobody ever, like, accused me of anything. Big whoop. And the best way I could ever describe that feeling from the very first time ever, I was sitting in bed, I was like crisscross, and then I kept rocking back and forth. Or no, I kept doing this or something. And I was like, wow, this is like, and by the way, that part is very important to like the rest of this. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever felt. This is the happiest I could ever be. And then I was like, I got hit by a wave. I was just smiling. I was just, ha ha, the whole night. I even woke up and I still felt it a little bit. And immediately after that, everything just went downhill for me. I would love to say how that replaced all my other addictions, but it never did. Never could. At this point in my life, I genuinely think this was one of my rock bottoms. I'd smoke, I'd vape, I'd watch the videos, and like, I started like, again, I'm just gonna say, okay. And it was just the lowest I think that I was. And I was like 12, or like 11, 12, and I hated my life. I hated everything. All I would do is cry and repeat these motions over and over and over. Every single day I would do this, no matter what. No matter if I had I could have the best day of my life, and that didn't matter. It never mattered. I would just do it again. I would just be like, I need to do this. And I just would. It was the best thing for me. And part of it wasn't even like I felt like I needed it. I mean, I did, but part of it was like, I have nothing. I was genuinely so, I shouldn't say that. It's such a weird thing to have to explain how I was so alone, but I knew so many people. So many people talked to me, but it didn't matter. None of it mattered. I was so alone. And it just sucked, you know? And then I hit 7th grade, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I got a little bit better by this point. I wouldn't as much. I think I only did like on like very rare occasions. I had met, I think like my first actual ever friend, and I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want to share her business out like that, even though she definitely knows who she is. And like, it was me and her against the world. It was always us. She would always talk to me. She would invite me over. She was just like this incredible, amazing, like, for so long in my life, it felt like I didn't need any of that. It felt so good, and it felt so incredibly nice to have somebody, and for her to be there. And she always showed up. She was always there. She was my best friend. Ever. The best person I'd ever met. She changed my life in so many ways. And at this point, I started getting better, actually. I really did. I stopped vaping for a while, stopped smoking, I stopped getting high. I think for about a year, I was doing pretty good. With that, I was incredibly depressed still. I stopped like myself, but I would begin to scratch my skin. And I would scratch it, and I would just scratch it for so long until it would start like bleeding. And it would just start bleeding, and I'd be like, and it would just be like, finally, like, thank God, like, it's over. And then when it would start to heal, and like the scar skin, whatever thing would start to grow back, I would rip it. I had tweezers, and I had them in my room, and I would check it at like every 30 minutes to an hour, and I would just rip it all as much as I could. I have so many scars from it, and it's just, I was just so incredibly, I just needed it, and I don't know why. And it's such a weird thing to, like, be like, yeah, I liked it, like, it was, like, a whole thing, because it's just, like, why would you, like, do that to yourself? Like, you don't get it. You don't understand. And, I mean, I'm not mad, but it's just, like, and then, at this time in my life, I can admit I sucked. I was actually a bad person. But I don't want to say, but I was also 13. That doesn't really excuse it. I think that it kind of explains why I was part of the way that I was. But it'll never excuse anything I've ever done. I was rude and I was selfish, and I really don't understand why I acted the way that I would. I ruined a lot of things for myself that I think could have been a lot better. And I guess that's just how the story goes. It's just how the tables turn for me. But I had said some really, I don't remember why I did this, but I remember. Actually, I remember why. All of my friends started posting like really bad things about me. And a lot of it I was just like, whatever, it's fine. I don't care. Cause like I guess there's not my real friends. But they weren't good friends. Like, and I know that you guys know who you are. And like we're a lot more chill now. And like I wasn't good either. So I can't be hypocrite and be like, you sucked, it's not your fault. No, they had just posted some. It's not that it, like, I guess it's not that, like, it hurt me. It's not like what they said for most of it. It's just that they were supposed to be my friends. But I remember one thing. One of them had posted, like, how, it was basically them saying how I'm just like my mom. And hearing that really sucked. It really, really sucked. And knowing that that's how most of my friends had thought about me, it just bothered me. It's not that my mom is a bad person. My mom is really, really great. She just struggles a lot. She just did a lot of bad things to me and to other people in her life because of her issues. And I'm not mad at her. She can't help it. But to know that that's how everybody else saw me, it really hurt. And the person who like was my best friend at the time, she was in that photo, like in the photo, it was like the caption of that. And I knew they were talking about me. It was very obvious. And I'm pretty sure one of them had even said, like, yeah. She was like, I didn't know that they were going to do that. But I still don't understand, because I was like, you were in the photo. You were right there. You were with them the whole time. And even in the photo, like, she was, like, they were posing for it. And it hurt. It just hurt so bad. But that's not the point. That's not the point. I had done something. I had said, I had essentially shamed all of them. And obviously after that, there's not a lot of coming back. I think I could have acted much differently now. But at the moment, I don't know what possessed me to say that. It's one of the meanest things I've ever said to anybody in my whole life. And I feel bad. I think about it sometimes. But I had said this, and obviously, you're not gonna have any friends after that. Like, there's no coming back. And I lost all my friends. It was just really hard for me. I was alone. I was alone again. And I mean, I guess I could have been more calm about it, because I had been like that my whole life. I still had like a few people, but none of them actually liked me, I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. I would hang out with one girl, actually like these two girls over the summer. I'm not gonna say their names either. I'm not gonna say anybody's names because it's not my business to share. If they see the video, then they know who they are. Big whoop. If you know who they are, then that's cool. I hang out with them a lot. But then those like the other people who like said that thing about me who I insulted. It was like a never-ending petty battle. Basically, who can bother who more? Who can act more calm about being bothered? And I mean, we were like 13. Yeah, we were gonna be petty. Big whoop. But it just, I don't know. It really, really got to me. But then at one point, this other girl, she's my friend. She was like one of like the most confident person I ever knew. She was popular. She was the shit. Even to this day, she is the shit. But like, she let me hang out with her and her friends. And then, well, that was like during the school year, but like still like over that summer, I was just really, actually I went out quite a bit. I think I was happy, but I don't know. I began smoking, I began vaping again. I stopped like hurting myself during this time. And the new school year had started. I'm in 8th grade now. I don't think anything could have made this year worse. This was probably the worst year of my entire life. This in 9th grade has ever since that year, my life has never been the same. Holy voice crack. My life has been ruined. I regret so many things, and I can't go back. I've missed out on everything. I have missed out on so much of my life. I've missed out on so many things I could have done. And it bothers me. It bothers me a lot. I think about this all the time. 8th grade year, I don't like to talk about my past romantic relationships because I'm in a very happy relationship now and I find it very disrespectful. But for the story, I'm going to because it played a really big part. I was with these new friends. It was always quite obvious that I stuck out. And I always knew. I just didn't like saying anything. Because I had nobody else. And when you're in middle school, you need a group. It just feels like that. It's like I can't be alone, otherwise everybody's gonna go after me. And I had been bullied my whole life. And I could not go through it. I could not do that again. At this point in my life, 2 weeks into school, I remember I got suspended for vaping. I almost got kicked out. My old best friend, she wasn't my best friend anymore. And I'd still see her in school a little bit because she was there for a little bit, not for long though. It's not my business to share why though. And then I was just I felt more alone than it seemed like I was. I'd always try to be funny. I'd always be like, haha, I'd always make jokes because I needed them to like me. I needed to beg. I just prayed that I could get through every day. I would just hope. And during this time, I had met this guy on TikTok, whatever. He lived in a whole different state. I'm not gonna say his state. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say any of his business for his personal life, Honestly, he was too old for me. He wasn't over 18 or anything, but he was just still a few years older, and it was on the verge of what the fuck. And I'm gonna call him I'm gonna call him Froggy because I saw my frog. I'm gonna call him Froggy even though that's a very unserious name. So me and Froggy, like, we started talking or whatever. And I think that he was genuinely the nicest person I could have met in my life during that time. He'd always talked about how he would come see me and how he promised that he would love me forever and how nothing could change that. I would talk to him. I told everybody about him. He never shamed me. He always listened to me. Any time that I needed somebody to just be there. I just wanted somebody to literally just be there. Just talk or just listen to me. He was there. How do you change my position? Anywho. He was always there. And that felt really good to have somebody who could just talk and just listen to me. Because nobody had done that. And then I remember one day, everything changed. And it wasn't like it slowly just started declining. One day, everything was great. Everything was perfect. Everything was awesome. And then, bam, completely, like, it was like as if I never knew him. He got really dry. He wouldn't reply to me for hours. He would hardly even talk to me. I'd have to text him like 3 times for him to even just say something. And that'd be over the span of hours. I would just be like, hey. And I would just be like, are you okay? And then I would just text again later and be like, hey, like, I'm gonna go to bed, like, sleep well. And then maybe he'd answer me. He might just reply. And I got, like, really, really depressed again. That really crushed everything in my body. I was so alone, and then somebody in the world, literally one person, genuinely showed that they enjoyed, like, that they loved me. And obviously that's a great feeling. And it just disappeared. And I don't know what I did wrong. Sometimes I do think about it, and I know that's not good, but it's not like I think about him. I just think about what's so incredibly wrong with me that nobody wants to be with me or be in my life. Not even romantically, nobody wants to stay. It's just a really draining feeling to feel all the time. And then when once I realized that happened, I had nowhere to go. I had nobody to turn to. I had gotten my phone and I walked out to my kitchen and I'd opened the medicine cabinet. I started searching up how many milligrams of like each thing could me. And I'm not gonna say what I took because I don't want to give anybody any ideas. I don't think that many people are gonna see this, but anybody who does, it's just not. I don't want to give anybody an idea of what they should be, like, what they could do. And I could never swallow, like, a pill until, and even that day I didn't. I just dissolved them all in water, and the powder was at the bottom, and I just scoop, like, I would drink all the water, then, like, I'd get a spoon, and I would try to get, like, all the powder, and I would just, I was laying on my bed, and I'd felt it, like, I don't know how long passed, but I started feeling it, and I was like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this anymore, like, I was scared. I had texted anybody that I knew. Only 2 people answered me. One of them, I'm not mad at her, because I understand, like, it wasn't her problem, and she didn't even know me that well. She just told me to go to bed. And the other person told me I'd be fine. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go now. Nobody cares. Nobody still nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody was there. I went to bed. I woke up. I woke up late. I used to be so early for everything. I wasn't. I was late. My family had woken me up, my grandpa, and he was like, come on, you gotta go get ready. And I got ready. I walked into school, and I was sad. I was still out of it. And one person noticed, and it's because I was staring at the wall. I will never forget. She was like, Camila, like, are you okay? You seem so disoriented. I just said I was fine. I wasn't, but I knew it didn't matter. And then after that, for like a hot minute, I'd stopped. I was like, okay, I don't I'll be fine. I don't need it. Or no, I think it's because I went on vacation. Unfortunately, I went on vacation. I got back. I was still trying to get this guy to come back to me. Not working, obviously. Like, girl, let him go. I mean, I eventually did. I was so alone. I began, like, scratching myself a lot more. Like, they were, like, a lot larger. Like, I had one that was, like, the size of my palm. And I would just burn. My body would burn all the time from all of them. I would constantly be in pain. If I wasn't in pain, then I was probably asleep. Showering was the worst thing ever. It would burn, and I would cry because it would hurt so bad. And it got to the point where I couldn't even stay in the shower. I would lay down. And I think how even that said, like, a lot about me. Because even, like, when I had stopped scratching myself, I would lay down. Because I began doing more medicine cabinet pillows. And, like, I would take them and I would just be exhausted. I was constantly tired. I was always drowsy. I would wake up and I would it started off really, really small. Well, actually, no, not really, but still. It started off smaller than it turned out in the end. I'd start with, like, 6 a day. So I'd be like, okay, it's morning, like, shower, get ready, 6. And then it would be, oh, like, I have this coming up today, or, like, I have, like, an event today, oh, I'll take more for it. Or, like, oh, I'm gonna go to somebody's house, I need to bring some, just in case for later. Yeah. I think, yeah, I did it. Actually, no, I went to one person's house, and I forgot them. And at this point, I was so attached to them. If I would go over a couple hours, I would start to go through really bad withdrawal. I would cry, I would sweat, I'd be cold, I would throw up, I would shiver, I'd have, like, the cold sweats. And it was the most painful thing I ever had to go through. And I was like, it got to the point where I was like, I can't go through that. So I would just keep taking them throughout the day. I would take more and more and more. Started with 6, and then it was like 10, then it became 12, and then it was 16, and then it was like, oh, let's do 20. And when I had reached, like, the 20 point, I had reconnected with the person from 7th grade who was my best friend. And I'm assuming how anybody who knows me, you know her. I talk about her all the time. I've known her the longest. She was my first friend. She means the world to me. She always has. And then, we reconnected in not such a great spot in our life, I guess. And nobody else cared for me. Nobody else cared about me. I had told a few people about my addiction. Nobody took me serious. Nobody took me serious. a lot of them were mad at me. A lot of them were just laughed at it. And it wasn't funny. All that I wanted was somebody to help me. I would sit down and I'd be like, I need to talk to you. And I would tell them and it'd just be like a, fucking stop, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or it'd be like a, whatever, you'll be fine. Or like, you like getting high, cool. It wasn't that. It wasn't. It's because nobody could have been there for me. Nobody could have been there. I genuinely believe that night, if anybody replied to me, if anybody even asked if I was okay, I would never have gotten to the point that I was. And obviously I can't place the blame on everybody else. Because at some point it comes down to myself and why I chose to turn the way that I did. And I guess growing up around multiple types of addictions never helped. Excuse me. And then me and her reconnected, and she has very unfortunately been experiencing the same thing that I had, like with the pillows. And I really wish I could tell the story and be like, I helped her and she helped me and we turned out great. I really wish I could have been like that. It didn't. Unfortunately, I don't want to say this about her, but I know it was probably definitely true about me. It'd constantly be like an enabling relationship, and it would be like a trauma bond. I bonded with her over everything. We had hard times with our moms. She had more of an eating issue than I think I ever did, which again, it's not my business to share. I'm not going to elaborate anymore on that. And she had emotionally felt the way that I had. And she had family issues, mom issues. Mom was a very big thing for us. Issues with friends, and she had genuinely been the best thing to ever happen to me. If I hadn't met her, I would never be where I am. We began hanging out and talking again. It was kind of awkward the first few times because I had wronged her so hard. But, I mean, obviously, we just kind of never really brought it up again. I had apologized to her, obviously. And then the summer had came. During the summer, it really got bad. We both started trying new things. I would be at her house for like a week, and we would just go on bender after bender after bender. And we would go into like a whole psychotic episode, or like we'd go into like, there's a French word. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I remember I can find it. Excuse me? No. French. Wait, what the heck? No, why is it showing me photos? I just want to search up a word. But me and her had became very okay. It's called, I'm probably not saying this right. I don't know how the fuck to say these things. Folie à deux? Maybe? It's also called, I'm just gonna like read like the Google definition. I don't know what the fuck this shit is. Madness of two. It's a rare psychotic syndrome where a delusional belief is transmitted from a primary individual inducer to one or more people with whom they share a close, often isolated relationship. During this time, me and her, it was mostly always us. It was us, no matter what. Me and her were always together. and we were taking the same things. We were taking the same amount every single day, like every hour. We just keep going and keep going. So obviously, we would start sharing like a lot of our thoughts, and I think we were never crazy. I think a lot of people get that mixed up. We weren't crazy. We were sick. I remember everybody blamed her. And that always made me really mad. Because it wasn't her fault. It wasn't. It never could have been. I wasn't with her when it began either. Everybody always blamed her. It was always her fault. It was always, you need to stop being around her. She sucks, blah, blah, blah. But she didn't. She was the only person who listened to me. She's the only person who was actually ever there for me. Nobody was there for the way she was. Or nobody was there for me like she was. And then at one point, I had gotten in a car crash. I have the scar on my forehead. It's actually quite visible, I think. And that kind of, it made me isolate myself a lot more. Over like the past, I think like year. Actually, over like ever since I think like, I don't know, over the past while, I've been a very confident person. I'm very confident. I'm very open. I'm very happy with what I look like. But what that's like, my scar has constantly been my biggest issue. It has always been. I have 2 insecurities, and I think that the biggest one is my scar. And people have made fun of me a lot for it, and it really hurt. But she didn't make fun of me. I wouldn't let anybody see me. I hid in my house. I wouldn't let anybody look at me. I wouldn't post pictures of myself. I wouldn't let anybody see what I looked like. I put a thing over it, and I would be like, it wouldn't even make it less visible. Like still people knew that there was something under there. And it was just really embarrassing, because I just didn't like it. But she never made fun of me for it. To this day, people make fun of me for it a lot. And some of the things, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's just a joke. Like, oh, like, you're Harry Potter, blah, 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 blah. It just bugs me, you know? It just made me feel really alone. I didn't even want her to see me. She had to wait a few days for me to let her come see me. She never shamed me about it. She never made me feel bad about it. And that's always one thing that I always love. She was there. Anyways, I hadn't actually even fully recovered during this, but I think by the weekend I would hang out with her, and we would continue, and our bender would just continue for weeks. It would get a lot worse. We'd actually have a lot of talks about how we're really sorry, and how all that we wanted to do was help each other, and how we couldn't. And we would just sit there for hours, and she would just talk to me, and I would just talk to her. And, she was all that I had. And I mean, I knew how I had other people in my life, but didn't feel like nobody had ever been there for me like she was. And everybody had really confronted me with a lot of anger at that time. And I would have been angry too. Like, I understand. But it made me feel really alone. I couldn't understand why nobody could just sit down, or even just be like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, do you want to talk about it? It was just always like, why are you doing this? And it would always turn on to, okay, I know one person might feel very, very targeted by this, but it was always like, why are you making me go through this? Or like, you know how much that ruined me? Or like, you doing that hurt me. How come you didn't think about me? You don't understand what I was going through, how I felt. I had nothing. I had nobody who cared about me. I had one person, and she was the only person who could talk to me, and who could listen to me, and who would try to understand me. And it was so alone. We sat outside my slider. And I told her, she told me how sorry we are. And how much we loved each other. And how it's always us against the world. She was my best friend. And then, one night we had decided to ourselves together. And, it wasn't enough, but it was a lot. Like, it was too much for us to act normal the next morning. And normally, it was at my house. My family is very, what's wrong with you? I'm not gonna go into detail about that night because the story of it, I think how most aspects make it seem funnier than it was. When I tell the story, people often laugh and people think it's funny. It's really not. I was going crazy. I felt like I was so trapped and like there was no escape. It's like a never-ending loop, like a never-ending maze, and I just couldn't get out. June 27, 2024 was the last time I actually ever hung out with her. That was like our last like real hangout. It really hurt. I went to the hospital. My family had found out. Couldn't see anybody. Couldn't talk to almost anybody. I was really alone. I felt really trapped. It's like I felt like I was stuck in a box and like it was open, but I just couldn't get out. I could not leave. There was nowhere for me to go. Me and her still talked secretly because she was still my best friend. It's very unfortunate for me to have to say how it happened again, but she wasn't there. It was just me. It was at school. Second week of school. Principal had pulled me out of class. He was like, "You took something." I was like, "I'm fine." And my heart was at 220 something. My grandma had come to pick me up. I had to go to the hospital, and I got sent away. For about a week, it wasn't terrible. But it's not something I'd wish on anybody. It's not a good feeling to have to see your family get confused at the way that you are. And it's an even worse feeling for them to yell at you because of it, instead of try to listen or understand. For a long time, they had blamed her. Then eventually they'd realized it wasn't her. It was me. I was able to see her a little bit here and there. At this point in my life, everything was terrible. Everything was worse. Ever since this day, my life has never been the same. My life has never once been the same. Not even for a day. I couldn't go out. I still can't go out. I can see very few people. I get questioned a lot. A lot of the things are basically asking me if I'm, even if I shake a little bit, it becomes an interrogation. And I understand, or sometimes my family will make jokes about it. It's not funny to me. It's not funny. At one point, I had sat down with my grandmother, and I was like, I can't be here. And then it was, well, this was like right after the June 27th, like the first time. And then I was like, I cannot be in this house. I'm so depressed. I can't be here. And she's like, well, you're not, like, you can't go anywhere. Because basically I was grounded. And I was like, that. And I was like, I tried it myself. She was like, I know, but basically I just can't go. At that point, I guess I kind of felt like that box that I was in had really shut. There's no getting out. There's no going. I tried to run away on a few occasions. Obviously bad directions, unfortunately. I became very, I don't want to say isolative, but I think that's like the best word to use. A lot of people as well really began to distance from me, which I understand. I had moved schools. I did online. I did absolutely terrible. I passed one class with a D, and I passed it by like 2%. I was depressed. I was really alone. I hadn't been able to go back into my old habits because I had no privacy. I had slept on the couch for a little under 2 years. I just recently was able to come back to my bedroom. And that had always been a very terrible thing for me. It had always been embarrassing. It had always been something I'd been very ashamed of. Because whenever I tell somebody, it was, they said it was kind of like a joke and how it was kind of funny. I just didn't find it funny, I guess. I had began going in person the next semester. And this part of the story is a part I don't like to publicly speak about. The rest of it I'm very open with. But this part is very, I'm very shameful about this. I had began doing different types of pillows. I wouldn't say I had a lot of friends, but I knew a lot of people. I had, again, I'm not gonna say anybody's name, whatever, began dating this guy. He had 2 sisters, and I had a sleepover with them, obviously, so I could hang out with him, big whoop, whatever. I had taken quite a lot. I had went, I don't want to say unconscious because that makes it seem like I couldn't wake up. I woke up for like 2 parts of it a little bit. The rest of it I was completely gone for. Couldn't open my eyes, couldn't wake up, couldn't move. He had, how do I say this? Unconsensually began to R-word me. And during this part, after this had happened, I went to school that Monday. And if people were like, oh, like, did you sleep with your boyfriend? Did you sleep with your boyfriend? And I was just like, because I didn't want to do that. I didn't have a choice. somebody had said something. He was like, oh, did you enjoy it? And I already told them to stop a few times. I remember I literally jumped out of my seat, basically, and I said, you guys need to stop fucking talking about this. And I walked away. And then I went to go sit with my other friend, and then I started looking away, and I started crying about it. And I just started sobbing. I started bawling my eyes out. And there's just tears and tears and tears rolling down my face. And I literally got up and I ran out. And his sister had seen me. And then I was crying because I didn't want to tell her because that's her family. That's her brother. I don't want her to have to turn against her brother over something that some girl says. I hadn't told her. I hadn't told anybody. But when that happened, I felt very isolated. But this time, I was too scared to go to any substance. Because if I did it, something bad was going to happen to me. In a way, that part really helped me stop, but not in the good way. It just scared me. And to this day, I have been good ever since. Oh yeah, ate up queen. But I had went to a different school. This is where like more of like my lonely part, I guess, comes in. Over that summer, I didn't have much going for me. Didn't have much at all. I was pretty alone. I went to summer school so that I could catch up. And other than that, I had nothing. I had nothing going for me. I had went to a different school. I go to an alternative school now. I actually really like my school. I think it's a lot better for me than like a public school. But in the beginning, I had talked to many people. I know I've talked a lot in this video. Clearly, this video currently I've been recording for over an hour. But I don't talk anymore. I try to stay mute. I do talk to my boyfriend, and I talk to like teachers or like the principal or like the office, but I will only speak if it's one-on-one, and I only whisper. And I don't want to say it's like a religious thing, but excuse me. I don't want to be like, oh, it's religious, respect it. I'm not religious. I'm not a religious person. Big whoop. But it just makes me feel good about myself. I enjoy not talking. I just feel good. And this is very, I don't know if this is rude of me or not. I'll come back to this. I talked to a lot of people. I made a lot of friends. And I guess as the year has progressed, I guess I slowly began to realize that a lot of the people that I consider my friends won't say that about me. People have talked about me behind my back. I'd always try to be friends with people, obviously, but then it had gotten to the point where I had eventually realized maybe I'm just meant to be alone. I had began distancing myself quite a lot. I'd be really dry. I became really angry over this current school year, actually. My was best friend. This part, it really hurts me it's not her fault. So I don't want anybody to think that it is. It's not. After her incident, she had just kind of moved on. It just didn't seem like it bothered her as much as it did me. It seemed like for her, it was just like a, damn. But for me, it crushed me. It was so soul crushing. And she just kept living. For me, it's like the world stopped. But for her, she just kept going. Never struggled again. And that part I'm happy about, but I guess I just kind of wondered if I ever like actually mattered. Cause for me it's like the world just ended. Like if I had disappeared, it could have been better. I began feeling very angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at everybody. I've been angry at everything. I do have to say I still currently feel this way. I've began to understand how nobody actually cares. And even when I say that, people are like, oh, I care about you. But they don't. It's just I care about you once you say something about how you feel. I care about you once you specifically say how alone you feel and how you have no friends. This is so that you don't hate me, by the way. They don't actually care. And I'm really angry. I've been really angry about it for quite a long time now. I lost everything. And it bothered me. It bothers me so incredibly much. But for her, the world just kept spinning. I had eventually began really taking it out on her. I'd become really dry. Really, I would ignore her. I would see her text and I would just stare at it. And I would just reply like a day or two later. And I would reply very bland. And it got to the point where she had asked me and I'd explained and I was just like, I'm angry. I'm so angry. I'm so incredibly alone. And you aren't there. You aren't here with me. She had apologized to me even though she never actually had to. Because she knew what was best for her. At the end of the day, that's all that actually mattered. She deserves to move on. And she deserves to have a good life. It's just really upsetting that I have to be stuck way behind. And that I just can't be part of anything. She had called me and told me how she was sorry. How it might feel like she hasn't been involved in my life. And I forgive her, obviously, but it's just I forgive you, but I'm still angry. I'm so angry. Being stuck, being alone, and going through depression, and going through addictions, so many different kinds, whether it be videos, opioids, drugs, or just anything. There's so many different types of addictions, and it's so incredibly important that you get help. You should be getting help as soon as you can. But it's also very hard. happy Mental Health Awareness Month. I guess I'm just sharing my story because I don't know. I guess if anybody sees this, hopefully you feel less alone. I had also coincidentally gotten this advice from that girl who I had been discussing like most of this video. She had posted something about like part of her experiences, so I just kind of felt as if I should. I hope that all of you are able to know that no matter what, there's definitely somebody who loves you. I promise that there's somebody, whether it be a parent or a friend, or there are people who I've encountered in my life who I'm just like, you might not even know it, but you are so loved, and you should never have to feel alone. You should be allowed to reach out, and you are allowed to reach out. There's so many different hotlines, there's so many different people. Even if you just need somebody to talk to, just talk to somebody that you might have not have talked to in a minute. I guess thank you for anybody who actually watched this whole thing. So, thanks to you. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay, bye.